One way through which someone can sabotage their connection with their intuition. Well, I was asked this, and it's not that easy to provide an answer, but see, the piece of life that we all are has certain karmic structure that disallows it from becoming one with creation. Hence, it will seek to transcend it, and therefore it will reincarnate in as many physical bodies as needed, and it will live as many lives as needed to simply transcend that karmic structure. That karmic structure is a residue of each and every decision, each and every action that one took in their previous lifetimes, as well in this current one, and also is you carrying the ancestral weight of the parents that you were born into. Yes, their lineage. Now, the point is, in life, one will seek to transcend limitations and challenges. Oftentimes, some of these challenges may require multiple lifetimes because something that was left out, well, you're not going to start necessarily at the same level. You're going to start probably twice below. It's like a rank reset in a video game. Not the perfect match, not a perfect description, but it's similar. You end up diamond, let's say, but you start in platinum or probably even lower in the next season, even if you win most of your games in placements. So when it comes to life, sabotaging your intuition can be pretty easy. See, the life within you and your life energies, if you live in an unconscious way, which most likely, well, most of us do, well, intuition is something that will communicate to you through certain ways. In my case, it's been through some voices. Those voices had a certain way of being which could not be replicated by my mind or even by my imagination initially. But when, for example, most of us suffer from the idea of self sabotage because it's been something that we've been going through throughout our lives, your imagination will find a way to simply replicate that voice one way or another. And the point is very simple, it doesn't want to mock that intuition, it just suffers because of the few things that most people suffer, anyways, and probably you are affected as well. A lack of patience, which obviously is a great signal of a sick society because everyone is compulsive. Everyone wants everything fast and, well, preferably instant. So that imagination will kick in. You will want your intuition to guide you even better, even faster, so that you can transcend that problem, right? The problem is you want it now. You want the solution now, but intuitive work can last even for years, as it's been in my case and, well, in the case of many other people. So many will become frustrated that, well, for a very lengthy period of time, they might actually not feel in the mood or they might not be in a connection with their intuition because of whatever pains and suffering they might go through. Life is a set of challenges and they will simply happen. It doesn't matter what background you have, what beliefs you have, what skin color you have, life simply happens. And the sets of challenges that go, sometimes they will roll by you, sometimes they will roll through your life. Yes? And people want things to be done fast. Intuition is a guidance system that will guide you the way it can. People throughout the time have called it ascended masters guiding them, guiding angels, or all things like that. Well, these are more or less sometimes wrong, sometimes correct namings, but there are forces in this cosmos that simply happen. And, well, if your life is attuned enough in their direction, well, they will simply sweep through your life and you may benefit from their aid. It's not that the cosmos itself will lend you a helping hand. Don't ever interpret things like that, because you might end up in a narcissistic struggle of expecting that the whole cosmos will simply help you. And then, well, if you go even further, you will end up victimizing why the cosmos doesn't help you. And then, even further, you will end up in something like Zionism, that you think the whole cosmos has to bow before you and actually does, and that you become some kind of chosen of the cosmos and the such. the pathways through consciousness, well, they may not necessarily be complex. They might actually be, but the point is the patterns can be observed, and those are way better and easier to observe than understanding consciousness on its own. So the point is very simple. In life, your imagination might want to replicate your intuition because it will try to imagine a salvation. Yes, it will try to imagine being given a way out. Yes, it will try to replicate that because most people live in this idea of misery, of being hopeless. Yes, a lot of us learn hopelessness ever since we are young, and that we are not worthy of things. And the imagination and life itself, your life energies, are impregnated so much with that karmic structure that they will simply do that because they do not know anything else. Don't forget, your life energies will simply follow any pattern that you are represented by. That is why a lot of people want to think something better, want to do something good, but they will keep being dragged down by that filth which is within them. And it will drag you down for as long as it is needed. Yes, transcending that through spirituality is a thing, but in some people's cases it will be hard. See, spirituality in the modern world is not easy to achieve because there's so much distraction. And I'm not talking about social media necessarily. There's so much noise around. Even your computers, your machines, your mobile phones, they're launching certain kinds of radiation, certain kinds of information that have a minimalistic impact on you. Yes, don't forget that you're also bombarded by your neighbors' mobile phones as well. And your body is constantly bombarded with information that it has to sift through. Just because you do not perceive that much information consciously, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have a certain influence on you. And that is why it is extremely hard to simply sit down and concentrate, or sit down and just do nothing, right? It is the most complex thing. It is the hardest thing, apparently, in this sick society. So your intuition might actually replicate that voice. Yes, your imagination might actually replicate that voice of your intuition. It will try to show itself as a salvation because it can't wait any longer. And when that happens, you'll end up in a certain confusion because you might actually end up in a situation where you cannot discern your imagination from your intuition anymore. And you will feel probably suffering so much more that, well, it will become unbearable. So, most likely, your learned hopelessness will convince you that that is worthless to pursue what you once called your salvation, your intuitive salvation anymore. And so you will inadvertently end up sabotaging your connection to that intuition. Yes, we all silence that voice because we all are taught that it is bad. Yes, schooling systems teach you to be intellectual, to gather data, and to make use of that data the way you can. And, well, usually the way others impose you to do so. Yes? But the problem is, intuition is a different kind of logic system, but one that does not take into account the intellect. And that is why intuitive people are not easily understood, or they are not understood at all, by intellectual people. And intellectual people can be very proficient in showing you how entrenched they are in their pieces of ideas, yes, in their own pieces of belief, because that's what intellect is, collecting information and making use of it. But unfortunately, a lot of people end up getting entrenched in those ideas, attaching themselves emotionally to those ideas as if they are the alpha and omega of their lives. Yes? When everyone is functioning like that, you will have also this tendency to follow suit because you will feel afraid of being left out. Yes, it is the biggest punishment of any social being to be isolated from their group. And a sick society learns pretty well to exploit this in people because obviously a sick society is all about control. And control is about turning your own resources, your own ideas against yourself. Yes? So teaching people that the intuition is something bad, is something demonic, is something that must not be trusted ever, that it is some kind of madness, right? Because to many people, intuition is like someone telling them something. It feels like hearing a certain voice and listening to that voice. Yes, to some people is suddenly seeing color, a synesthesia maybe, in other people's cases, where they feel a certain smell which they perceive not just by smelling, but also by a color. Or they feel a certain sound which they perceive also as a smell at the same time, or as a color, or things like that. And modern psychiatry was designed to specifically make people become convinced that all of these intuitive things are nothing else but gibberish, but madness, and that whoever hears voices is madness, yes? Whoever talks to themselves is psychiatry material, yes? Because talking to yourself is an aspect that all geniuses do, because you are rehearsing certain things, you are preparing yourself, you are sifting through some of your information, yes? You are only making preparations. This can either be an aspect of genius, or well, it can be as well an aspect of madness and, well, encroaching schizophrenia. Yes, that can also be correct, but the first option is also right, because in the end, genius is kind of rarely far away from madness in the first place. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care, enjoy life. This being said, Ferenc on board, signing out.